is going to be a short week, so to speak, but it's still going to be a good work week to think about starting 2021 and how we're going to start and what we're going to do in 2021. And maybe even talk about what things we might do differently. I know on our last session, Wayne started talking about business planning. Did anybody think about business planning in the last week?
Of course.
No? Of course. While you were drinking eggnog and
a little bit mixed in.
Well, that's the best way to think about it if you're having a little eggnog with it. So, but seriously, thinking about your business plan and putting one down on paper. And at this point, I wouldn't even care if it was, just one lined, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper on a pad, but you need to have something. You just need to have direction in how you're going to be running your business this year. So and I think Wayne went through some of the business planning that we're going to be doing with you to give you guys a little snippet of that. And I promise it will not be painful, and it will probably, it will be one of the best exercises that you can do for your real estate business. And when you put together that business plan, then you need to look at it. You shouldn't just put it in your desk drawer or file it someplace, but you need to look at it. And I'm kind of a visual person, and at one time, I know I put together a like a vision board, if you will. Because at one time, one of my visions was being able to have my son in a military school and be able to afford that at $35,000 a year. And so, of course, I had him, on my vision board as well, and graduating from high school. I also had a copy, I cut a boat out of the magazine because, I wanted to be able to spend time with my family on a boat. And, and that was part of my vision, to be able to not necessarily have a new boat, but spend time with my family, whether it be on a boat, on our family farm in Kentucky, or whatever. But to have that vision constantly in front of you, and it was in front of me because I had it on a keychain. I had it laminated and had it on my keychain. And that's also at the time where most of the time, you had to use a key to start your car. You didn't have the key fobs or anything. So I carried around my little vision board to remind me to stay on track, because, I have issues with staying on track. I'm probably a lot ADD, and if I've got 5 or 6 spinning balls in the air, I'm happy. But I have to also know, I need to be careful of the balls that I have spinning, because they need to be the spinning balls that have an impact on my real estate business, because my real estate business is my lifeline. And I'm sure it is for many of you as well. It is your lifeline, and there's not a plan B. We have to sell houses. We have to get paid in order to, put a roof over our heads, to send our kids to private schools, to, have a good life, a good, and sometimes putting those things down on paper, it's a very good exercise to do that. And you also need to think about, what's very important to you, maybe 5 things that are important to you going into 2021. And one of them might be spending more time with the family. You notice that your kids are, getting bigger and starting to go in different directions. And the writing is on the wall that, your first one's going to be going to college soon. And, and that opens the gate for, living in another realm, if you will. So we need to think about preparing for the year ahead of us and how we're going to look at that. Although when you think about this time last year, boy, when we were planning for this time last year, we sure didn't have some of the elements that we've dealt with this year in our plan, did we? No, we didn't. I think we were unassuming in January. In February, we were probably hearing, some things like, some virus or something going on. And then February, it hit full blast where we knew we were in trouble as a nation and to, fight this Corona business. So that's going to have an impact on our business next year as well, how we handle that. And let me tell you, I've been in this business many, many years, and I've seen how the environment has changed. It continues to change. And there are some things that we are in control of and we can change. And there are other things that we absolutely cannot control. And we have to find ways to do what we do best in spite of that environment. And most of you on this call, I think, are very seasoned agents, and you've realized how to do that. And I was looking at some reports that we had that were reports that went up to the end of October. And I've got to tell you, as a whole, our company has done very, very well with dealing with this pandemic, dealing, with, how we work with sellers when their house is being shown, how we work with buyers, do we go on, do we have buyers in the car with us? Do we carry booties, and do we carry masks with us when we go and show houses? Well, yeah, we sure do, don't we? I know right now, my purse, I've got all kinds of masks in my purse just to make sure that I have a mask, when I need it. And, and right now, we know we need to wear these masks to either for ourselves to be comfortable or have other people around us be comfortable. So anyway, that's kind of talking about the environment. And, and again, there are just some things about our environment that we cannot change, but we have to deal with and deal with in a very positive way. And our agents, you guys have done an outstanding job this year of dealing with the hard balls that were thrown your way with our environment. And I just can't say kudos to everybody that is a part of, continuing to plow through and get out there and work hard for your buyers, because our buyers, they're on pins and needles right now, aren't they? And we have sellers that want to become buyers, but they're afraid to put their houses on the market, afraid they won't find a house to move to. So we've got to be creative in figuring out how are we going to do this. You may have a family that has 5 kids, and it is, they just are not going to put their house on the market until they have a house under contract. Well, there are ways to do that, and you need to think about how can I do that, and still we'll probably get into multiple offer situation, but how can my buyer be that solid buyer and have as much weight in their offer as somebody that comes in also bidding on the same house but doesn't have a house to sell first? How do we make our clients' offers stand out? Well, there are a lot of ways to do that, and we need to think about that as well. Have you guys started working on your value proposition? When we talk about our value proposition, you know, we need to think about what it is, why people want to work with us, why they call us. And we have a lot of people in our markets that are doing the same things that we are doing. And quite honestly, some of them are doing them very well, as our people are. But what makes you different? What sets you, why are you the cream of the crop? Why would somebody prefer to work with you instead of working with someone who's been in the business 25 years and sells $15 million, $15 to $20 million worth of real estate every year? Why would they work with you instead of them? And you need to come up with those reasons. And, you know, it shouldn't be because I'm honest, because I work hard. Most of us, you know, who may be your competitor, not me, but, you know, our competitors, you know, many of them are honest and work hard. What do you do that is different? We were very fortunate in Cincinnati a couple of weeks ago to have John DeCurtin share his value proposition with us. And that was, and I think Wayne had spoken about it. That was something that John gave a designer information to put into that, but they created his value proposition. And he paid a couple $1,000s for people to do that for him. And when he went through it, I'm telling you, it popped. It absolutely popped. And, you know, and John showed the things that he does, you know, before a listing, before the house hits the market. Is that important? Well, yeah, it is important, because any marketing strategy that we have is going to be very important. And in today's world, chances are when we list a house, if it is priced even halfway close to being right, we're going to have offers on it. And we will probably have many offers on it. So how do we deal with that? How do we prepare our sellers for a multiple offer situation ahead of time? Well, you need to think about that, don't you? Instead of, okay, we've got your house on the market, we've listed it, and by the way, we've got 5 agents that are writing offers on it. That's, you know, that's good. It's a good thing for the seller, but it's also very high anxiety for the seller. You know, but how are we going to look through all of these offers and figure out which offer is best for us? And who is going to work with us so that, you know, we are not out of a place to live until we find a place. So it's when we write those offers, it's not always about the price we offer, it's about the terms. And right now, the terms are very, very important with what the occupancy might be for the seller. And we need to talk to that seller about those terms, you know, so that we have an idea of what they're dealing with. You know, maybe they can move in to, you know, their mom and dad's house for a while. You know, I know of a couple that with 4 kids that just moved into the mother's house until, you know, they can, you know, find, you know, a house. They're putting their house on the market, and that's the way that one's going to bounce. But we need to have those hard conversations. What happens if we put your house on the market and it sells in one day? Are you going to be able to accept an offer then? Okay. We need to talk about that when we're putting together our value proposition to anticipate what, you know, what my strengths are, and maybe your strengths are that, you know, you are a good planner, and your planning expertise can impact them in a positive way, because you're going to put a plan in place so that when 5 offers come in, we know exactly what they're going to do, because maybe they'll go to temporary housing for 3 months. Well, where do you find temporary housing in Cincinnati or in Columbus or in Cleveland? Shouldn't you know that? I think you probably should in today's world. Okay. So getting back to the value proposition again, who wants to share with the group some of the things that you have highlighted in your value proposition? And this is where it's interactive and you talk back to me. Okay. You can unmute yourselves and share with the group if you would like.
Linda, I'll go ahead, start us off here.
Great. Hi, Dan.
Hello. Something that I'm a big believer in is a value proposition, but also I tie it in with what I call a personal mission statement. You know, each of us as realtors all have our own business. Any successful organization, whether it's for-profit, nonprofit, they have mission statements. And I read a great book a number of years ago that said we too should be having our own personal mission statement. So when you're talking about what can I offer, you know, my personal mission statement is I will improve each and every day so that I can continue to coach while positively impacting lives personally and professionally. And then I read that once a month, but that's something I also will say to clients, meaning I don't have the answer to every single question, but I'm going to improve each and every day, which is the first part of my mission statement. But I also want to continue to coach, whether it's real estate, life, golf. It's just, there's so many different things, you know, coaching your children, coaching your friends, but then positively impacting lives personally and professionally is very big for me. So when I say that to a client, a potential client, they know that I've thought about this, that I put a lot of time, effort, energy in crafting this. And you have to believe in it too. And I do believe in that personal mission statement. So that's what I use as my value proposition.
That's good. That is very good. And I can tell that you've thought about this. This is not just something that you threw together here in the past week or so. That's good to see. Thanks for sharing, Dan. Anybody else?
Linda, this is Roger.
Hi, Roger.
Hi. So yeah, I've thought quite a bit about mine. I think generally speaking, I have wide-ranging experiences, and those really help me relate to just about anybody. So, you know, I'm real proud of my ability to relate to people. The work that I've done so far, I think, proves that to be true. And so that's working out real well for me. Another specific part of experience that I think is good. I also was a union contract negotiator at school for many years. And so leading those contract negotiations, you know, I learned a lot about negotiation. And really in that, I think some of my best experiences is when we had to work with federal mediators and to see how they work and how good they were at getting two opposing sides to come to an agreement. So those are just, you know, I think my experiences are useful.
I would say so. That, yeah, I would absolutely let people know that that is in your background. Yeah, that is phenomenal, Roger. How would you package that and tell people about that?
Well, I think just, you know, as you're meeting people and just having discussion, just getting to know people, you just have to look for opportunities to, you know, whenever it's appropriate. You can't just blurt that out. You know, it has to somehow work into the conversation, I think, in a natural way.
Mm-hmm.
So you just, you know, I don't know. I don't know if you should approach it formally or if you should try to go a more informal route. I guess if you did it formally, you could kind of package it in something that's written and present that sort of as maybe a resume, to a potential client.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. And I guess depending on the person who's would it have an impact on them if they knew that you had, a strong background with negotiations. So yeah, that's very good. Have you guys gone on to leverage and gone into the ERA University and looked at their templates for your value proposition? You should, because I tell you what, ERA is like a 6-story candy building. Well, John, you go into leverage, and you should have a password to get into leverage, and then I got to tell you, leverage is updated and it changes all the time. So you have to get in and use leverage. But if you are having a difficulty finding what you want to find, there's always a search bar at the top. And you might want to put business planning or working with sellers. And then that way, under the learning section, I think it's ERA University. And we'd be glad to show you how to get that. And there are very good templates in there. And ERA Corporate has they spend the time and the money to see what colors that are in our repertoire that work, how people respond to color, and you'll be able to see that. And the color scheme that we've come up with most recently is very appealing to a lot of people, very appealing to a lot of people. Now let's see what Gloria just said. Gloria said this: in terms of my value proposition, I viewed the company-wide progress in an email I received. I'm focusing on some keywords for myself, such as connected, your corner, our triangles, community with a focus on your individual needs in real estate. And these are some of the things that she's written down. Well, that's what you need to do. You need to write some of these things down when you think about it. I mean, you may be driving and you may think of a word, or, I see different slogans that other major brands, or even maybe not so much a major brand, has. And like maybe taking one of those words and going, yeah, that applies to us too. That applies to me. So, come up with those one words and then think around it and build around that one word. The negotiator, being able to negotiate. Shouldn't that be a skill set that if you have it, if you have not had it in your previous life, wouldn't that be a set of skills that you would find to be very useful in your business today? Well, I tell you, it would be. And not everybody coming into the business, has a background in that. So where do we go to find out how do we become a good negotiator? If I'm brand new in the business, and maybe, I haven't even bought a home in my lifetime yet, how do I become a good negotiator? Well, again, going in leverage, that we have we have classes on there, we have webinars, we have live classes. Get on these classes. These classes are phenomenal. And you want to use these because, you may be sitting at, maybe you went home and you fell asleep on the couch and you slept for 2 or 3 hours, and here at 11 p.m., you're wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. So, maybe you're going to be up until 4 o'clock in the morning. Get on leverage. and, you know, and look and go through some of these classes with these negotiating skills. Some of these are national trainers that are, that have videoed for us, and we have these videos on file. So that's something to think about. Does anybody else want to share?
Hey, Linda, it's Christina.
Hi, Christina.
Hey, I just want to piggyback on what Dan said about that mission statement. I've had my license for many, many years, and just lately, well, not really lately, but the past few years, a lot of my clients have came from my children's school. I get a lot of buyers and sellers from there. But what I've started in the past few years, which I found has been tremendously likable to clients, is where I've donated a part of my commission back to the school for every client that I get. And that also, I mean, when I'm not obviously with a client that is from their school, you know, it could be a buyer or a seller of a friend of mine, but then I just ask them, you know, where can we donate something to a charity of your choice or something like that? But just giving back is really needed right now more than ever. And I find that clients really take that to heart and they love that idea. So it's really helped on my end, gaining people and, you know, getting more referrals and things like that. And it can be big or small. But just the thought of it, the clients really, really like that.
Mhm. I can see where they would. I can see where they would. So do you do that in lieu of a closing gift?
No, I still give like a little closing gift to them as far as like if it's a gift card or a, you know, like a home sweet home picture frame or just something. But no, I don't do it as in lieu of a closing gift.
Okay, okay. So I like that. And, you know, maybe some of you on the call like that concept very well. And so how would you do that? Maybe you've got something that's near and dear to you in your life. You know, whether it be, you know, the school the kids go to, or St. Jude's, or Alzheimer's, or whatever it might be. How could you give back and have that be part of your business plan where you're doing that? That could be something very worthwhile to think about. And you know, and it's maybe it's not where you would want to do the marketing that says, oh gee, I you know, I gave $2,000 this year to, you know, the kids' school this year from all the real estate deals I put together. And no, that's not at all what is meant here. It's because sometimes it's, you know, good deeds do not go unnoticed. But letting people know that, you know, you are doing this as a person, and this is what you want to do, is to give back in areas where giving back is desperately needed. Anybody have any ideas or thoughts about that? Did something just come to mind? Yeah. Gloria and Gloria Sigmund is on here, and Gloria, she has been an attorney for 30 years now. She was a phenomenal prosecuting attorney, and, you know, we need to, you know, help her figure out, well, how can she use the experiences that she can draw on, that those experiences of being you know, an attorney for 30 years. Do you think that somebody would find that helpful and useful? I bet they would. I bet they would. Is Wayne Weaver on here now?
He is.
Oh, there you are. Hey, how was your trip?
It was good. Got in right on time. So
Good. I guess it's nice there.
yeah, I mean, it's only 72, so
Blue skies and white clouds, right?
yeah, no clouds. So
Okay. Okay, well, we're talking about our value proposition and getting some good dialogue with that.
yeah, I love it. So if you listen to like any of the Inman folks, or even go right to NAR, the number one a thing, I guess, or trait that a client or contact potential customer wants to see in an agent now is them being local and community driven, like hooked to the community. So so it used to be, I mean, when I was getting started, it was like, oh, you have to have experience and you have to have this, and like really what they want now is someone local. So Dan and Christina and Gloria putting in there that you're connected to the community. You could, and I just put an example on because if I didn't write that down when I was thinking about it, I'd have forgot it. So I just kind of put, a sample value prop that I literally just come up with when I was listening to Dan and Christina, and then in reading what Gloria wrote. Just bring in that you're local or community driven, full time, and then you can talk about negotiating. You can talk about just working hard for them. That's really all. And I don't know if anybody else has anything, or maybe is struggling with it, or just doesn't know how to put it on paper. But it can really be that simple. Where like we said the previous couple sessions, this is not like in stone. We're like, oh, I did it and I can't change it. We know that, like, we're going to look at that a month from now and go, I kind of want to throw this in there. And then we're going to get some experience. We're going to think of something. We're going to add to it. We can make it another sentence. We can just tweak what we have. So, yeah, I loved what everyone was saying, and the community piece can be huge. So.
Yeah. One thing that I want to share before I turn the reins over to you, Wayne, is that our Anderson office did a phenomenal job with their blood drive in the middle of this month. And we're getting ready to do a blood drive the beginning of January for our Kemper Road and our Westchester office. Well, I don't care where you are, the blood banks are in desperate need of blood. That anybody can put together a blood drive. And so, I mean, if you think about that, and how could you be a part of that? Maybe you can't give blood, or maybe you've given blood recently and you haven't, have the time frame or something, or maybe you have that special blood that is universal. Okay. So maybe think about, what you could do with this community, this give back thing. Another thing that we do at ERA, we have the first Tuesday of every month is what we call our Giving Tuesday. And what we are going to be doing as a company, we're going to pay more attention to that moving forward in 2021. And special blood. Yeah, Roger, that could be part of your value proposition, that special blood, if you have that special blood, because there is a special blood. But whatever, we're going to be looking for other things, but we're going to try to, in Cincinnati, we're going to try to do a blood drive at least once a quarter. But think about what would work where you work, or what you could do to be involved in and have a community effort. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Wayne, and I will talk to you guys later. And it was fun pitch hitting for Wayne here for just a minute, guys. So you guys take care, and I'm going to close my mic for now.
All right. Thank you, Linda, so much. So yeah, just a quick follow up with what Linda was just saying about, you know, just for example, the Anderson blood drive. So obviously that is John DeCurtains is in that office. So all he did was, you know, outside on his phone, and just did a you know, probably a minute, maybe around a minute video on, you know, that the blood drive was coming up, and you know, I looked at it, of course I'm, you know, partial, but I looked at it and just thought, you know, this guy's trying to do something for the community. He's connected, he's, you know, he's giving back, he's taking time from his busy day. So, you know, you don't always want to look for an ulterior motive, but any time that you can kind of bring yourself to the community, or offer, or, you know, whether you do a blood drive or just show up at the Kemper Road one, or whatever, you know, the Rocky River, wherever, you know, if you just show up and kind of were involved in what can I do, whether I give blood or that's not my thing or whatever, you know, just know that that's always a connection, and people love it. And when we were talking about, you know, ways to get people to sort of think of you and remember you, and oh gee, that's right, Roger sells real estate, and, you know, just little things. Well, you know, obviously DeCurtains did that. He was wearing his ERA mask thing, so you could see that he was in front of the ERA building, said this is where it's going to be, you know. So there's always ways to just kind of do things, but yet you know, truly be a part of the community without having to, you know, go crazy on it. So so yeah, that's awesome. So if you guys will just you know, just continue to work on that value prop. You know, Dan threw in the thing that, yeah, I mean, you can't necessarily you know, it's not something you can necessarily throw on a business card or something like that. You can always have a tagline on your business card that sort of leads to your value prop, but you know, the quote of the day is elevator speech. So, you know, someone hops on the elevator and you have till they get to their floor or you get to your floor to, you know, to sort of sell them on who you are and how you know, how you work and how you sell real estate, or help them buy real estate. You know, that's about it. So, you know, just kind of having it down, and just, you know, practice a little bit, and then just be able to spit it out, even if it's not perfect or it changes each time you do it. You know, the idea is that, you know, I'm at least these three, you know, I focus on these three things, or these four things, or whatever. You'll quickly be able to sort of tweak that and just have it. So definitely want you guys to continue, maybe just talking about it a little bit more today helps you, you know, fine tune, but please, 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 please. I know Dan would be willing to help. I'm willing to help Linda, you know, anybody, if anyone wants to get on the phone for 10 minutes and kind of throw one together and you know, come up with ideas together. Happy to sort of do that, to, you know, to help you guys get it done. Okay, so I'm gonna get to my screen here. So I'm gonna share my screen. Oops. Okay, so along, you know, kind of thinking of the, you know, the value prop, you know, we quickly went into some business planning, which we will get some stuff to you very soon. And then we went right into contacts, and like in knowing, you know, kind of from your business plan, how many contacts you needed. So, you know, for the rest of this session and probably some of the next, I'm just going to be talking about leads. You know, lead gen, lead conversion, why it's tough to convert some, should I be spending money, or what kind of money should I be spending? Where should I be spending money? You know, there is not going to be a right answer per se. You know, there'll be some good suggestions, but there's not going to be like a perfect answer, and, you know, everyone's going to be different, but definitely we'll want you guys to kind of to add maybe what you guys have done, or what you're thinking of doing, or if you have questions as we go, you know, please, you know, you know, let's make sure we interact with this, because you know, we might have some folks on the call that have been in the business a while and have tried stuff or done things, and, you know, again, it doesn't mean just because it didn't work out for someone that it won't work out for me, but you know, you kind of, well, this is what I did, I might change it, or, you know, again, just kind of continuing the thoughts so we can share all the ideas. Michelle, you have my cell, so just text me, and this goes for everybody. You guys just text me, and I am happy to you know, just set up a time. And if you want to, you know, do the value prop, if you want to talk about anything, period, with your business, even stuff we haven't gone over or will go over, you know, definitely am up for that. So you guys can just text me, and then that'll lead to the conversation where we can set it up. So happy to do that. So when we talk about leads, you know, leads are crazy. So, you know, if you know, if we're talking about internet leads, if we're talking about, you know, posting on social, so really there are two types of lead gen essentially, and they're both up there. So when you talk about prospecting, you know, that's more for me more of a warm lead gen, where I'm actually, you know, trying to get in front of someone, to talk to someone, you know, very likely face-to-face at an open house, targeted social media instead of just a random post or a random ad, you know, that type of thing. And then of course on the right side you have marketing, where it's, you know, just kind of, you know, generic stuff like Facebook ads, newsletters, periodic mailers, just sold postcards. Those are just kind of getting sent. And you sort of know people are seeing them, they're getting the just sold, they're touching it, they're seeing you, but it's not really, you know, like they kind of see you and, you know, they could be like, okay, you know, you sold the house next door, great, you know, I'm not ready to do anything, or, you know, so the idea is anytime we have that one contact, and if it's in the marketing side, you know, we want to either hit them at a certain, you know, so NAR says that if we do the right side and we expect them to remember us, it's probably going to take about 11 touches. So 11 times, 11 postcards, 11 newsletters, 11 periodic mailers. You know, if they get it, look at it and go, oh, okay, Roger. You know, and then they just throw it away. You know, they're not analyzing it too much because I'm not ready to do anything, and I might know an agent, you know, or whatever. But when I get the second one and the third one, you know, it's the seventh or eighth one where they're like, oh, geez, like Roger's been sending, you know, that's great for him, you know. And then the idea is you know, perhaps when they, you know, when they get to ready to do something or they hear something, you know, then Roger's name comes up. So, but if we're on the left-hand side and we're prospecting, you know, if we're prospecting to our sphere, you know, I just need to tell them once, like, look, you know, and you know your sphere and you know who you can be blunt with and things. But the idea is look, I sell real estate. So, you know, I'm not too busy to help you. I'm not too busy to help your friends or your coworkers or your neighbors or whatever. But the idea is all the way down that list: for sale by owners, expireds, open houses, farming, social media. You know, that's very targeted, where we're not going to have to work as hard. We don't necessarily need to touch, you know, somebody in your sphere 11 times. But, you know, the idea with the left-hand side is the prospecting needs to be just consistent. So I can't tell my whole sphere I sell real estate today and then not tell any of them for a year, you know, and just think they're magically going to remember it. So that is the huge piece of us, you know, of lead gen. You know, and if you've sat down with me or talked to me or listened to me very much, I am not a huge money spender. You know, I'll do it if I just kind of know, you know, I'm not just going to wing it and go, well, I got to mail 11 postcards and hope something happens. Or, you know, if I'm going to spend $1, I really expect to get 5 out of it, or, you know, some number out of it. I do not just, you know, just start winging money around, you know, just buying leads or just random ads. And, you know, so just kind of know that when I'm talking, you know, everything that I talk about or give ideas to are, you know, are things that I do. And I do it as cheap as possible. If I have to mail something, you know, I'm going to do it all myself. So. Yes, Roger. So great question. I love it because, you know, could be very well a question across the board. So Roger just asked, could someone define farming for me? So obviously we're not, you know, planting gardens as a side job. So farming is taking a very specific area And I say area, it can be area, it can be age group, it can be, you know, it's a very specific group of buyers or sellers, and hitting them with information that's important to them. So just the ideal example would be a development. So there's 100 homes in the development. I want to sort of take it over and be the agent for that development. I want to, you know, I want to know all the stats. I want to know, you know, I want to get to know everybody. I want to, you know, so I want to kind of learn those folks and have them become sort of my farming area. So that can be a development, a school district, a price range. I could be like, hey, look, I want those high-end homes. I want, you know, waterfront, riverfront, you know, just any sort of lakefront, that type of thing. So you're kind of picking a very specific group of folks and then hitting them with contacts so that you become sort of the, you know, the expert in their, you know, in that farming group that you're hitting. So hopefully that helped, Roger. If you have any, if you need anything else, please let me know. Perfect. Okay, so, you know, so this will kind of bring it in perspective when I talk about, you know, like, you know, I don't care where we are in our business. I don't care if we're new or in the business 30 years. I still need, you know, I still need someone to buy or sell tomorrow, and then I need someone to buy or sell the day after that, you know, to keep the pipeline going. But when you see this, you sort of see that prospecting has a shorter conversion time. Because, you know, even though and I just use my sphere, but, you know, you have that whole list of more personal contact, a targeted Facebook ad, you know, that's going to get to someone, even though I don't expect someone to just go, I am selling, you know. I mean, you might get lucky and have that timing, but it's not like they're just going to naturally go, oh yeah, that's right, I'm selling. And you know, the idea is that with prospecting, and it's more personal and face-to-face and the farming and all of that, they're not going to need 11 touches, you know, before they trust me enough to use me or to refer me out. So the prospecting, it being more personal, allows us to just get to those folks, have, you know, we're in their mind, and then we're just waiting for them to need to do something, their family, their coworkers, or their neighbors, you know, someone in their world. So it's a bigger thing than just our sphere, because then we grab all of their spheres. So our sphere circle just grew if we just let them know, you know, that, you know, I mean, with our value prop, that we're, you know, we wouldn't just expect them to use us because we've known them for 10 years. You know, we still have to value prop them, but it's so much easier to get them to trust us than somebody that's, you know, that we've never met. And that's why it takes 11 touch points, you know, roughly, for them to build trust with them, so that they'll either potentially call us or, you know, refer us out if they hear something. So that's kind of the idea behind that. So, you know, we always talk about a pipeline. So this is a lead generation mix. You know, so now business versus future business. You see, obviously, the prospecting marketing overlap, just because you just never know. But what we absolutely have to get down is the communication piece. Because if we're not communicating with either one of them, we have no business. They will forget us. They won't think of us. We won't be top of mind if, if something comes up in their world or somebody they know. So again, what we're going to be talking about sort of the rest of the time really in the class is, taking everybody we have, who we meet, and then fitting them into this. So, I mean, obviously prospecting is great, but, we're going to find a way to make sure that we're talking to all these folks, and then we're going to find a way to do it. So we're not working 24/7. We'll let the newsletter go out automatically. We will let, Zap or whatever CRM you're using send emails automatically. And then I just got to do maybe a couple handwritten notes. I'm going to do some open houses. I'm going to prospect some expireds and for sale by owners. We're going to kind of mix it in like that. So I'm actually going to, you know, just we kind of saw them in the, when we're talking about the marketing and, you know, versus prospecting, but, you know, this is, I don't care where you are in your world, again, in new or not, if you're new, there's a high 80% chance that your first deal or your first deals are going to come from this list. So, you know, obviously, usually it's your sphere, but, you know, like do an open house, you know, for an agent. There are agents all over our company that have listings that, you know, might have 2 or 3 listings coming up, and, you know, just ask around like, hey, anybody need an open house? I'd love to do an open house. And then, you know, you set up something with them, depending on what that situation is, you get the buyers or whatever it is, you know, but the idea is they're loving it, their client loves it, and you get a chance to meet some folks. Get a little specific, you know, find a farming area and you know, kind of start working it with stats. You know, if you're going to farm, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next session, but you know, stats are huge really with anybody. If you want to connect with someone, if you want someone to read something you send, there better be as few words as possible, unless it's a really good article. Few words as possible, and then stats. I don't care if I just bought my house. If you sent me something that said your house is worth this, or did you know your neighbor's house sold for this, or whatever, you know, your neighborhood, you know, the values have gone up 10%. I will stop and read it, and that will immediately start my connection to you, to build trust in you when you give me stats, and stats are valuable to me. So just kind of remember that as we go. You know, we're happy to help you guys do that. Your office coordinators, your office managers, you know, it really, you know, we got tons of folks that can help, you know, put a great postcard together, for example, you know, with some stats and then verbiage and things. You know, if you just kind of wanted to try something like that, you know, generically, or even on the farming side. So I'm gonna kind of, I'm hoping that I can. So I am going to put some stats on here, and I want you to tell me what you think the stat means. I'm going to just throw a number on. So, I apologize because my handwriting is brutal, but less than 1%. Who wants to tell me what they think that might mean? And this all has to do with leads. You want to unmute yourself or throw something in chat? Michelle says social media leads. Anybody else? So what that is that is just a general conversion rate of all online leads. Yes. So, you know, realtor.com, Zillow, you know, Trulia, you know, all the online leads, you know, it just in general convert at about 1%, you know, less than 1%. Just because, you know what, there are a lot of folks out there just poking around and might ask a question. So I am going to throw this one up, and that is just about 4.5%. Who wants to tell me what that might mean?
Social?
So 4.5% is the general lead conversion for agents that use CRM. So that same 1%, the same exact leads convert at about 4.5% if you have a CRM, and the CRM, so it's kind of, you know, if you think about it, I hand you 100 leads today and say, stay in contact with them. And one, or maybe none, but, you know, let's just say one says, I want to see 123 Main Street. You're like, golden, you know, where's your focus? On 123 Main Street and that dude. And the 99 leads, I don't know, you know, you're going to email them a second time, text them, you know, whatever. And then guess what? They don't respond and they fall off your radar, you know, because who has time to deal with 99 folks? And that's a, you know, in the next month, you might get a, you know, you get more and more. So it keeps growing. The idea is, you know, those folks, there really aren't 99% of the people that are just truly bored and aren't looking for a home. What happens is a chunk of that 99%. If I handed you, I handed you the 100 and one says I want to do something and you got 99, a chunk of those 99 just aren't ready. Don't really want to talk to you. So they will not respond. But if we have them on a drip campaign in Zap or a CRM, we have them on a listing alert, guess what? The system is helping us. Maybe we put something in there that you know, that once a quarter, we reach out personally with the text or something, hit them up app, mass text, send it out, you know, use Zap to text, whatever. The idea is those people come back around. So, you know, so it's just crazy to know that, you know, I mean, unfortunately, this is a stat I track, and we are working leads at the company level that other people just gave up on. And guess what? You know, we get a lead and they come back around, and it might be 2 months, it might be 6 months, it might be 11 months, but the system's just doing it for me. And then when I open Zap and see that someone's done something or looked at homes, hand it off to an agent, and you know, they have a live lead then. So just kind of know, that's a big piece of us helping you is, you know, it's impossible to take, you know, like Darlene, when she was on last week, 16, you know, she got 16,000 leads. Like, I mean, there's no way in the world. Like, how would you can't keep up with 200 if I said, contact them, you know, once every 2 weeks, you know, follow up with them, you know, I mean, they're not responding, you get frustrated. So, I mean, just know that they are, you know, not every one of them is like just a waste of time, but what we can help you set up so that when they come back, or, you know, when they do decide they're ready to chat or start looking at homes or things like that, that you're still the agent connected to them and you didn't just lose money. So, you know, I don't expect everyone to just, you know, reach out to 200 people 11, 12, 16 times, you know, constantly taking up hours and hours of your day, hoping, but we have the system in place. The CRM will help you do that, and sort of take care of that for you. And then you just kind of sit back and throw some personal touches out, you know, when you think it's worth it. But that's a huge piece. Like, there's not a soul on the call that's not going to take 3.5%, you know, more leads at, you know, 100,000 or 200,000 or 500,000, you know, whatever your average sale price is, you know, and that's every 100 you get. So the first 100, the second 100. So again, just kind of wanted to make sure you guys knew, you know, kind of know that. And I'm just going to throw out two more stats just to kind of put it in perspective. No, sorry, that was, I think it's like 6.5. So, anyone want to guess what 588 million represents? So 588 million is the number of leads that were created in 2019. Online leads. So Zillow, Trulia, ERA.com, you know, NAR tracks that. So 588 million people actually said, you know, I have a question about this house. I want to see it. You know, can you send me more pictures? You know, some version of not just, you know, liking it or something on Facebook. And I will, you know, 6.5, roughly about the number of homes that sold in 2019. So, you know, come on, you know, we're fighting over almost 600 million people, you know, in six. So that comes down to that 1%. So the thing to realize is of the 580 million or whatever number that didn't buy, they carry over to the next year. So in 2020, you know, there are, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 million people that are all, I don't know, looking for the right house, making sure the economy's good, saving up money, you know, whatever the situation is. But just to kind of, you know, make sure that you guys know, you know, those are crazy numbers. So but to put it in perspective is we got to be on the ball. We got to be in communication with the folks that would use us or will use us, and then jump in the ring with the whole online lead piece that we need that piece. And again, let us help you kind of find ways to work them, and grab the pieces, you know, get to the 4.5% versus fighting for 1%. So again, just kind of wanted to throw that out there to, you know, I mean, it's a daunting number, but at the same time, you know, we know, and we've seen it, we know that leads come back around. You know, my Op City record, I say a record just because it's crazy. My Op City record right now is 9 months. So 9 months from the time a lead came in, she converted. And all I did was listing alert, drip campaign, hit them up, mass text. All I did. And you know, that lead came back around. That would have been so easy to just be like, I'm done, not gonna send that one, you know, not gonna send that email, not gonna do this, not gonna do that. You know, again, just know that these folks do come back around. But again, can't stress the fact that, you know, we got a whole bunch of people, you know, in our world right now that, that would use us without even fighting. So, you know, it's very crucial that we, you know, that we stay in touch with those folks and work them, and then just kind of do the thing with the internet leads and the Op Cities and, you know, all of that. So I want to check time here. We got 25 minutes. So I want to make sure we get through kind of this ABCD. So, I mean, this is, you know, you kind of think ABCD, you think like you're quartiling folks, but in reality, this is kind of setting up this system so that all of those folks, so my only goal with a lead is, well, besides obviously closing them and making money, but really it's to just keep it in my bucket. And I always talk about buckets. It's so crucial that if someone comes into my world, that they stay in my world. You know, whatever I need to do to not be annoyed and you get frustrated because they don't respond. You know, if it's my sphere, I need to stay in touch with them. You know, like, I can't stress that enough. But when they come into your world, keep them in your world. Let's develop that atmosphere, use the tools and things that will help you do that. So you can just kind of sit back and go, okay, these are the 5 things I need to do today. In the meantime, you know, my CRM, you know, the MLS or wherever you have listing alerts, stuff, like all that's just happening. That's like bonus stuff. And all I have to do are these, you know, whatever, these 5 things to kind of, that's my part. And then the systems and the tools are doing the rest. So when you talk about acquire, you know, obviously we started talking about that. I mean, you know, you got to get people into your database. So that's going to be our next kind of, we're going to kind of get serious about doing that for homework is we actually want that database created. We want it to, you know, obviously to continue to grow, and then add to it and things like that. But, you know, acquiring, I don't want to say it's the, you know, it's not the easiest piece, but you know, we have a lot of folks, we meet a lot of folks, we have a chance to get leads. You know, if you guys aren't using Op City, that's certainly an option to, you know, to help you start growing your, you know, your lead database. But really it's, you know, I mean, as soon as we get them, And however we get them, just know that, you know, it's a quick turnaround to be like, okay, we all have 100 people now without even, you know, really thinking. You know, we could have 500, we could have 16,000, but, you know, it quickly has to go to, you know, so payoff, a robust database that will ultimately build, stabilize, and expand your business. That's what happens when you acquire properly or aggressively or consistently. That's kind of probably the best word, is consistently grow your database. Like, you know, be looking around, be, you know, just be on the move, create a farming little area, and then, you know, they become in your database, you know. So really we want to acquire these folks, and then, but it quickly turns to how are we building and nurturing relationships. This is it. So of the A, B, C, and D, you know, if we acquire and don't build, we're done. You know, we can't build without acquiring, but this is the piece. This is where we figure out what's best for us, figure out what's best for our database, and you will divide your database to friends and family. Well, they are not going to get put on this, you know, huge email campaign. I'm not putting them on listing alerts. They're going to get this relationship from me. These folks that I got from OpCity or Zillow or, you know, just whatever, they're going to get this relationship from me. You know, so you know, you have to kind of look at all your folks and divide it out. So, you know, you're working your family and friends, your sphere, the way you need to, because you know them. You need to work these folks more aggressively, because if they don't hear from you more aggressively, they will quickly click on another button online and just move on, you know. So every single person, you know, I mean, you don't break it down to like, you know, each person, what do I got to do, you know, but the idea is you start grouping folks, and then we start building, you know, drip campaigns in Zap or in your CRM, the listing alerts, things like that, whatever you need to. So family and friends can have a drip campaign in Zap that sends them an email twice a year, and that's it. And it's almost maybe a joke, like, hey, didn't want you to forget, I'm still in real estate and still need your support. You know, just, you can almost make a joke of it or whatever. But the idea is you can customize all of your contact, you know, by your 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups, whatever. But that's kind of the key. So, you know, the bulk pieces in Zap, or if you use a different CRM, you know, you can grab 1,000 people and go, hey, let's reintroduce them to my website. I mean, write a, hey, I know you guys may not be looking, but I'd love your help on, you know, what you think of my website. Let me know what you think, and send it out to 1,000 people. That literally just took you less than 10 minutes, and you sent an email to 1,000 people asking for a favor. You know, people will look at it, people will respond, you know, that just gets attention. So again, there's just ways to tweak and customize every, you know, lots of plans for every single person in your database, just depending on how we group them. Close. I mean, you know, obviously this is sort of the fun one when, you know, when someone does step up and you know, and say, hey, I'm ready, you know, to buy, we're thinking of selling, you know, maybe even a referral, you know, hey, you know, we're not looking, but I appreciate everything you've been sending us. Can you help, you know, John, you know, just whatever. So, you know, but this is where, you know, again, you know, if we didn't acquire folks or build a database, if we didn't stay in touch with the database, this piece never comes or doesn't come as often. You know, they'll still have folks that just naturally will call you, but you know, we absolutely have to be in touch with everyone consistently, so we get to this piece, which is the fun piece. It's fun whether it's just someone you've known. When that happens, you're like, oh, that's awesome that they thought of me, and you know, but You know, or if it's someone new that just, you know, hey, I actually want to see 123 Main Street, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think that was going to happen. So, you know, but again, just kind of knowing, you know, this piece obviously follows the last two, but you know, we've talked about this before as well, and we talked about it a lot on the last Agent Tool of the Month call with John DeCurtains. Oh, you know, it's on listing presentations. Is that we still need to value prop ourselves. So maybe not to that, you know, or not as much to that maybe immediate family member or, you know, friend for 20 years kind of thing. But, you know, we're probably still going to have to value prop ourselves and make sure we're ready to help them and, you know, buy, sell. So if we're, you know, selling, we need the listing presentation. That's got to be, you know, it's got to be put together. It's got to be, you know, in your, you know, in your filing cabinet to be able to just pull out, because someone will be like, hey, I think we're selling. Can you come over Thursday? You know, you don't walk in the house Thursday and go, this is mine. I don't need to do anything. You got to go in Thursday going, I got to be prepared to, you know, just know my business. So, you know, sell me, sell my company, sell ERA, know the market. You know, I got to have all that together. And you just don't want to pull that out of the, you know, you don't want to, you know, call up, you know, your office manager or Linda or I and go, hey, I mean, it's not the worst problem to have, but since we're working on this, it's much easier to kind of have that done and ready, and then get that call, and you might want us to help you tweak it or get ready for it, but not create it because you didn't do it at that point. So just kind of know, you know, we're kind of coming full circle, and we'll just continue to do that. You know, I mean, it's leads, value propping ourselves, working them, you know, using tools. You know, it's kind of in the circle almost nonstop. And then I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to stop and kind of get some feedback from you guys. So, you know, so develop, you know, this is kind of that one that's telling you to, you know, so B was kind of building it. Now it's just continuing to develop your relationships, your CRM database, tweaking things, adding things in. You know, obviously Facebook was not a thing, you know, whatever, 10 years ago, whatever the time frame is. So, you know, Facebook comes along, you're like, geez, I suppose I got to bring Facebook into my, you know, into my building business, you know, whether it's the ads or just using it for contact. So kind of the same thing with everything. You know, you'll tweak your plans, you'll tweak, you know, how often they go out. You might add a newsletter in, you might add more open houses. You know, you might choose to go after expireds and for sale by owners and kind of work that. Like all that's kind of, you know, goes back to the acquiring and building, but the develop is just like everything we do, everything in our world is, boy, we will never get to the point where we just go, we're done, everything's perfect, I can use this forever. You know, you love the idea that it'll all, you know, be in place and all I have to do is tweak it rather than build it. You know, we're not very often we got to stop and rebuild something, but, you know, just know, you know, it's crucial that we're kind of, you know, once a year, twice a year, you know, just like, you know, looking at our business plan monthly or as often as we can kind of thing. You know, it's the same concept is, you know, we got to look at what we're doing and everything we have in place, you know, as often as you feel, quarterly, you know, a couple times a year, just to make sure everything's, you know, still on track. Because if this gets off track, guess what? You know, all your goals and things, you know, kind of fall by the wayside as well. So, you know, I think I'm going to pause there for a minute. I really want to kind of get, oh, there's a chat. Let me check that. Yeah, Dwayne, holiday personal events emails. So I'm going to kind of date that. I don't know when you said that, but I'm kind of thinking that is something that is that extra piece. So, you know, I mean, you have a core group that are getting emails. You got a core group that are getting listing alerts. Some are getting both, whatever. And then, you know, like you said, holiday and personal event emails, community events are awesome ways to kind of throw out that little like, hey, this is, you know, this is personal here. It's something that's happening Saturday, or the holiday coming up, you know, so they, you know, that folks, whether, you know, again, you know, it's not very often, sometimes you will get like thank yous and stuff, but you know, we don't really expect someone to stop everything and go, thank you for telling me about the parade this Saturday, you know, something like that, you know, but what I realize, if I'm getting communication from you, and if I get something that's like this Saturday, that's community oriented, you know, around the holiday kind of thing, I will stop and go, oh, Dwayne, that's right. You know, a little bit more than if it was, you know, just kind of that normal stuff. So yeah, you know, you heard me say it, I'll say it again. We cannot be secret agents. So, you know, in secret agents, the biggest fear folks have are working your family and friends. And I say working them because we need to work them, but, you know, we don't work them by saying, are you looking to buy or sell? You know, we work them however we feel we need to, but, you know, wearing logo wear around them, or, you know, posting things on social that, you know, they'll see, you know, sort of targeting them, but not being, you know, nothing geared towards like annoying them. But, or just flat out asking them. I love an email or a text. So you can text your mobile app link to someone and say, hey, check it out. Let me download this. Let me know what you think. You know, they will download it and they will let you know what they think. Same thing with an email. You know, send it to your sphere. Ask them, you know, hey, I made some changes to my website. I'd love to know what you think about it. You know, like they're going to be like, oh, that's right. Roger's in real estate. Dwayne's in real estate. You know, I mean, that's the main goal. Besides the fact they'll actually be on your website. They'll be like, hey, look for a house, or, you know, whatever. But also keep that in mind for, you know, for folks that they know as well. Again, their sphere. So definitely, you know, working your family and friends is crucial. You know what you can do, what you can't do, kind of thing. Again, let us help if you need. Let us help you come up with a plan to, you know, to sort of to work them so they don't become, you know, you're not a secret agent to them, and, you know, they just don't think of you first when somebody they know is ready to do something. So any other thoughts? I'd love to hear from you know, any one of you guys or a bunch of you on kind of that the ABCD there. Like, what do you think of that? Does it sort of, I always kind of look at this when I do this. Again, I've taken this course, you know, it was Top Gun with Dan Elzer. I've done this course probably 5 or 6 times. You know, I've never taught it or worked with agents on it, but when you kind of think about that, for me, it always resonates like, oh geez, I gotta, you know, I either gotta keep doing what I'm doing, I gotta change some things up. It lit a fire under me. You know, there's always something. So I'd love to hear, you know, maybe Roger, if I don't know, or Dwayne, like what your thoughts are on that, as far as you know, Roger as a newer agent, would love to hear, you know, from somebody else as far as, you know, if you're a little bit more experienced or whatever, you know, kind of what that meant to you, just kind of hearing it or going over it. All right, Jackie, I'm going to pick on you.
I knew it.
Well, I mean, so, yeah, like, you know, what do you think? Like, you work with, so Jackie's our office manager in Rocky River in Cleveland. So not only does she sell, she works, you know, works with all the agents in the office. So kind of what you know, your day to day, what does that kind of resonate with you?
Well, you know, I think it's really important when you say this all the time, don't be a secret agent. And I have so many folks here that are scared to put themselves out on social media, even just to post anything about their day or anything they do. You know, it is our livelihood, and it is really important that you are the face of it. And sometimes maybe it is uncomfortable to put yourself out there a little bit, but if you're just you and really work that angle of it, you'd be surprised how many people are just going to start to equate real estate with you. You know, as simple as, you know, when you meet new folks and they say, what do you do? Even if this isn't your full-time job, it's really important that it's not. I've been in conversations with part-time agents from different companies that you say, oh, you know, what do you do? And they'll say, oh, well, I'm, let's just say in social work. And I have a real estate license, but I don't really do that much with it. I don't do that. You know, make sure that everybody knows what you do. Be proud of it. This is a business that changes on a dime. And it is so important that you keep up with everything. And that is a value prop, because so many agents just don't take the time to learn anything new. They don't even read emails from the MLS or from ERA corporate. It's just really time for you to take hold of your own business.
Love it. That was, yeah, no, that was perfect. That was, yeah. And that, you know, so that was sort of Jackie on the office manager part. But that's what Jackie does in her business. You know, like she's buying and selling with folks. So, you know, so it's important. But I love the fact that you were, you know, kind of referencing, like, take hold of your business. Like, you know, no one else is gonna, look, we'll give you everything we can, we'll help you, but, you know, we can't write the emails for you. We can't have you talk to people. You know, we can't take your hand and do it, but, you know, I love that, that you said, like, do it and be proud of it. So that's awesome. Thank you for that. Anybody else just want to add a little bit to that? Like I said, maybe one of our newer agents, any thoughts on kind of that acquiring, building, closing?
Yeah, Wayne, I'll jump in here. You know, I like what you said about the motivation aspect of it, because, you know, as agents, you have the choice every morning whether to get up out of bed and go, you know, punch the time clock or not. Nobody's holding a gun to your head per se. But one thing I always remember is I read something about motivation is a lot like filling your gas tank of your car. You don't wait until the gas runs out before you fill it back up. You know, you constantly are filling that gas tank up so you never run out of gas. And I believe real estate's the same way, that we should use these continuing education opportunities as fuel for, you know, the fire of motivating us to get out there and reach our goals.
Love it. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. Yeah. You know, like Linda said, you know, I mean, first of all, you guys signing up in doing Achieve, you know, with the holidays and stuff, you know, so you guys are already, you know, you're not doing this because you're bored. You're ready to take control. You know, so now it's just a matter of, you know, we're going to follow through this. So let's work hard for the next 2.5 weeks in this session, you know, in the course, and then just be ready to, you know, to continue it. And like Linda said, with leverage, you know, you may not have time doing this course and everything else you're doing, but there are, I mean, just an obnoxious amount of classes, courses, you know, from 20 minutes to you know, an hour or something that you can just watch at your leisure. You know, and there are some great ones. You know, you can't hurt leverage, so get in there, poke around in the university, click a button, see what comes up. But besides the tools, like you can learn this tool, learn that tool, there are some awesome sessions on there about, like, negotiating. Like, you know, hey, I'm about to negotiate a deal, you know, winning the deal, winning listings, and it's almost like a round table where you have, you know, someone leading it and then folks chiming in and things. So again, that's just tons and tons there in leverage, you know, just to keep in mind for you know, the second half of January, in February, in March. You know, you can grab 1 or 2 every month. You'll set yourself apart so quick from other agents, because you know, it's crazy. You know, experienced agents can get lackadaisical. The new agents may not have support, so they don't have tools. They're just like, well, hey, you know, sold 2 houses this year and didn't really have to do much. You know, that type of mentality, where you guys can easily set yourself apart. You know, just by kind of doing what we're doing now, but constantly wanting to learn and just kind of be a step above. So I'm going to finish this. I'm going to wait to do seller focus, and we'll hammer this one out on Wednesday with the second part of 2. But this is just going to be a focus for this week. And I know another holiday, but in reality, this is my number one focus for the whole course, is that database. So we're going to build the tools around it, but we really need the database to have a listing to go on, to need a listing presentation, or to value prop someone, you know. So the database is huge. So really, I kind of want a number from you guys. If you have one, if you're using Zap, I showed you where that spreadsheet is where, you know, so if you have folks in your phone and your Gmail and the MLS, or just, you know, an Excel spreadsheet is a database. So we don't need them to be in a CRM right now. I mean, sooner the better, we can start working them. But a database is a Rolodex. As long as you know it's there, but then we got to figure out how to, you know, the best way to work it. So homework really for like going into Wednesday, I'll talk about it more, but really for like the next Monday will be like let me know if you need anything, but or your office manager, your office coordinator will help you, you know, grab a CSV from Gmail, and then help you get it from your phone. Let's go in Facebook, you know, things like that. Let's really focus on that database, because I promise you, if you have a database and I say just by the time we get done with this, I will do whatever I need to. I'm building campaigns in Zap. We can find ways to engage every single person in that database to sort of take at least a portion of that off your plate, but to be building, using the B of ABCD, building relationships with those folks. You know, we'll just kind of, that's our goal, is to build that database, to have it, and then figure out how Roger needs to work Roger's database, and Michelle needs to work Michelle's database. That's what we, you know, Christina, that's what we have to do, is figure out what's best for you. But it will not help anyone, including you, you know, if we just kind of like plug along or have, you know, 50 folks, 100 folks, 16,000 folks in a spreadsheet and not doing anything with them. So, you know, like Darlene's working 16,000 people to figure out the best way to truly start working them. Like that's a lot. So, but that's kind of what we all need to do, or what the goal is, you know, for the rest of this week. So if you guys will kind of focus on that database, you know, make a list. So first thing, make a list of everywhere you could have a contact, sphere, you know, past client, past coworkers, you know, the phone, the email, MLS, like Facebook, where are all these people? And then let's figure out that plan to start grabbing them. And that would be a huge step in the right direction. And if you're new, you are definitely going, you know, to your email and your phone and, you know, your neighborhood, you know, that type of thing. All right, let me check chat real quick, and then I think we'll be. So Roger asked us a template of information categories for database, so it coordinates with Zap better. So Roger, are you kind of talking about buyer and seller? Are you talking more about where your folks come from?
I think, well, really both buyer and seller, but I've seen where there's a way to, I guess, I don't know, would it be upload or download information from your Excel spreadsheet into Zap, but I've not tried to do that. And I just wondered, when you set that up, does it need to be set up in a way so that it matches with what Zap categories are already there?
So the thing I'll tell you is, before anybody puts, you know, tries to or uploads anything into Zap, let's just look at the spreadsheet. for two reasons. So
I mean, the Zap spreadsheet?
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, really the idea is, you know, if you just have a spreadsheet and you have first name, last name, phone number, email, like that's great. You know, I mean, if you have anything else, that'd be a bonus. But if you have just that, that's everything you need to get started. So we need to do two things with that list. We need to look at it and go, who are these people? So we can call them a buyer, we can call them a seller. You know, some of them are just people like friends. So we can tag them. So we can tag them SOI, we can tag them family, friends, like, you know, anything you want to. So the idea is before we upload that or do anything with it, let's just take it and just massage it so that it is the best thing for Roger. Like, okay, that's what I wanted. But between the buyer seller, you know, I mean, you know, some of those I just don't even pay attention to them. The new, hot, cold, you know, if I'm uploading my family and friends, I'll call them new. I don't care. I'll call them closed. I just need to know, like, you know, here they are. My sphere, family and friends are marked new buyers or new other. That's fine. I'll tag them family and friends. But the idea is when I bring them into Zap, they're going to get assigned this follow-up plan, because that's who they are. And then these folks are, you know, past coworkers. You can put past coworkers as a tag. And I'm going to work those folks this way. So the idea is we'll massage that template, that spreadsheet before we bring it into Zap or whatever CRM. And we'll massage it so that when we bring it into Zap, it starts working for you the second you bring it in there.
Okay, so label them in a way that they match a specific follow-up plan that's in Zap.
Yes, yeah, and I will help you do that, because we'll put on, yeah, there's an, what the idea is there in Zap, there's an auto assign follow-up plan.
Right.
So if I bring in 5 people and they're marked new buyer with a tag family and friends, whatever. Soon as I bring them in, they can get assigned the family and friends drip campaign. And we created that, and it's whatever we wanted to create it. It's simple, it's short, it's, you know, short emails. It's like, hey, how you doing? Hope all is well, you know, whatever. So that's the idea, is we can tweak that spreadsheet so that, and then tweak what's in Zap. And when they match, the system's already on its way for you. And I don't need to do any extra work.
All right, thanks, Wayne.
No, absolutely. And I'm going to, I don't know if I can go backwards. Oh, maybe I can. Here you go. Greg asked for that slide, so I just kind of wanted to take that back and do that. So, I mean, thank you guys so much for joining again. As soon as I get this recording, I will send it out. But if we can just, I mean, if you need value prop help, that continues to, you know, to be there, please let us know. Reach out to your office manager or us, and in that database, you know, let's just keep thinking about it, working on it. You know, it does not need to be created by Wednesday, but you know, if we're 30 more people, or you've checked off your phone kind of thing, that let's continue to build this. If we don't have it now, or we haven't had it, or we're not working it, you know, I'd rather have it right by the end of the session, by the end of the course, in working for you, instead of just like kind of throwing something together. So, so just kind of keep thinking like that. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. I will send out the recording today as soon as I can. And we will see you Wednesday morning at 9:30. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.